Welcome everybody to our Monday Night Live. We're so happy to have you guys here with us tonight. Tonight we have a great episode. We've got our friend Justin from the Hope Shot on with us tonight.
Yes, yes.
And we got Jamie with thunderstorms all around her with no Wi-Fi. Let's
All
see.
around. Thunder and lightning.
Are we gonna do that dance like
bring
with
it.
that Ted?
It's like who brings the boom? Wasn't that a song? Who brings the boom?
Here comes the boom, I think.
Yes, that's what it is. That's me today. Bringing it
All
in.
right. If you guys are watching, drop in the comments where are you watching from. If you're in recovery, drop your clean date. Let us know that you're on with us tonight. All right. We got Jarrett on and our friend April. Hey, April.
What's up, Jarrett? Joshua from West Virginia.
There it is.
Rebecca says, I bring the boom.
Oh boy.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Jared's 8/28/2021. It looks like you're coming up on an anniversary.
Yes, he is.
Awesome. Okay, so we were kind of talking before we started about the joy within, right? Like finding joy within yourself, no matter what's going on around you and how you do that, right? Because I remember when I was in my addiction, it was like chaos and drama and escaping my feelings all of the time and always wanting to be numb. And I had absolutely no joy within. And so when I first got clean, like I still didn't have any joy within, like it took a lot of time for me to be able to build that joy within or to really work on that joy within. But it's something that like you really got to dig deep and find within yourself. So how do you do that, right? How do you find the joy within?
In healthy ways too. Because like I know like I found joy from things that may not have been so healthy. Not just drugs, other things like sex.
Or shopping.
Or shopping. Oh gosh, that's still a little bit for me.
Food is for me.
Food.
Ice cream is the devil. It's so good though.
Yes. What kind of ice cream do you like?
Any kind. I don't discriminate except for like my daughter. Listen, my daughter likes mint ice cream and my son likes chocolate. I will not do that. I think they do it on purpose because they know I won't eat it.
Yeah, because they know you won't eat it.
They definitely do it on purpose.
Yeah, they know what's up. But then you know what's messed up? They'll get mint chocolate chip and chocolate, and then I'll get mine, and they'll eat mine, and then go to theirs. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Of course, of course.
And then I don't have the joy within. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I think it's so important to be able to like to be able to find that and be able to find like peace and joy and not have it come from like something in the outside. And I feel like the key to that in the beginning is going to be like ingratitude, right? Like because we're always going to focus on like, what don't I have? What did I lose? What went wrong? But what if we say like, well, what's right with me today? Like, what do I have to be grateful for today?
I'll tell you one thing that keeps me out of it is when I compare myself to other people. That is one thing that I've learned that I love to do. I love to do it. I love to, especially when I'm on Facebook and like I'm scrolling and it's like all this happy. I remember in my addiction, I would sit there in Facebook like, man, I wish I had that, or I wish I like just the happiness, you know what I mean? Just that joy within, and I would crave it. Like I can never achieve it on my own, and I hated that I couldn't. And finally when I got it, man, that's why I think I hold on tight to it. And some days are better than others. Sometimes, man, I could get right back in that misery real quick, because I'm comparing myself to other people and what I don't have instead of looking at what I do have, like you said. And it's easy to do that. But yeah, man, I would sit there, man, I'm just craving that joy, craving that happiness, that stability,
Yeah, I love what you guys are saying, because when I think about it, like when I first got clean, I came from such a like bad, dark, broke, lonely, busted ass place, right? Like I was busted. And I remember being in jail and feeling joyful because like I had a toothbrush and I had a bed to sleep in and I didn't have to sleep with anybody to sleep in the bed. You know, I had clothes that were washed, all of this like stuff that we take for granted every day. I had those things because I didn't have that in the end of my addiction. Like I didn't even have a fucking pot to piss in, literally, you know? So having those things, even though I had to share a toilet with other girls, which that kind of sucked, but but like I still have the joy within, you know. And another thing that brings me joy as I'm thinking about it is like being surrounded by my support network, you know, because even in jail back then, like those people, I finally found a place that I belonged, you know, which kind of sounds weird because I was in jail, but people understood me for the first time ever. And I found so much gratitude in being around like-minded people and having the little things in life.
Absolutely. I used to hate having to pee in front of people in jail. That was terrible. Or if you have
Or
to
go
go
number
number
two.
two, yes, like you have to wait till everybody goes down for like dinner or a cigarette because you could smoke in our jail out here. So I was like, you have to like wait and like plan it out. Oh my goodness, that was awful. So yeah, super grateful to have my own toilet today.
It's the little things, right?
Shower.
The little things
It's
that
the
matter.
little things. You
Not
don't have
having
to
to
wear
pee in front of
shower
somebody.
shoes.
Oh my god. I remember when people started wearing those on the outs. Like we're in there wearing them, and people wearing them on the outs. I was like, why? I've never want to see those things again. And Sonya, my dad used to say, a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. That's what they always used to say. I
So
was like, yeah,
true.
that makes
So
sense.
true.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I still see those jail shoes all the time. It's a regular occurrence around here.
yeah, I haven't done that in a long time. You know, it's funny because when I was in my addiction, like I had when it was 2011 was the last time I ever got arrested, and I was 130 pounds soaking wet, and I didn't think I looked like that. I literally looked like a Smeagol, you know, from Lord of the Rings. And from then on out, man, I was like, all right, if I put this down, if I put this drug down, this is my problem, and I'll pick this. I'll just drink. That's it. That's all I'll do. But everything started coming back, and now I didn't get arrested and again, or went back to smoking dope or jumping rope. You know what I mean? Like I was just manageable on that side, but it was enough. It was enough misery for me to want to do something different in 2018. So, but yeah, and it doesn't have to be, the pictures you see sometimes on the internet. Our rock bottoms are all kinds of levels, man. It's just whatever you can take, and then you're the only person that knows that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of us like to what do they say? Dig a basement? Dig a basement in the rock bottom. And some people are just, have less tolerance. Like, nope, that's enough. That was good for me. Had a good scare or something, you know what I mean? Like almost went to jail. Let me just quit.
Yeah, I think rock bottom is something that happens on the inside, because when I think about it, there's so many times that I was in way worse positions than the last position that I was in the end, and it really just was, I was so freaking sick and tired of living the way that I was living. I was finally done. And you know what's funny? I ran into somebody after I got clean, and they told me that before I got arrested, I would say to them, as we were using, like, when I get arrested, because I knew I was going to get arrested, I'm going to quit. This is the end for me. Like, I'm really done. And I didn't know that until they told me that. But I think I was just so sick and tired of living that way. I was finally ready. But it wasn't the worst rock bottom. Certainly it wasn't.
Yeah, same with me. My worst rock bottom was the 130 pounds soaking wet. And I thought that was enough, but I had to do a little bit more research because, I was like, I didn't get beat up that bad though. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that bad.
We're evidence-based people. We need to see the data. We're very analytical.
Lots of data. It has to be a lot.
Yeah. Yes. And I think something else too that has to come with like finding joy within is like acceptance, like accepting the situation for how it is supposed to be exactly at that moment. And I feel like that kind of helps you to kind of like ease into that path of, finding joy.
Definitely. It's almost like you have to accept it, like you are the one that decided it. That's the acceptance that you really need to like really grasp, because man, life, if not, man, you're gonna it sucks, man. And I'm that guy. Like I would sit there like, this sucks, man, and like go around all pouting and shit, and like, and then I miss other opportunities, right? Like there's something way better coming my way, but I'm so focused on what didn't happen and why it didn't happen and poor me and all this crap, man, that I'm just stuck and just hyper focused and obsessed on this one thing. Like I get really obsessed about certain things, my expectations, and then I'm angry, and it's just a whirlwind of crap. You know what I mean? When you don't accept things, man.
I feel personally attacked right now.
But I think we grow in those periods, right? Like when we are getting to a place of acceptance and we're waiting for whatever it is that we are really wanting, like whatever we had our eyes on, but we don't get it. I think that we grow in those periods. That's where we build our character at.
Yeah. Maybe not right away, but it's coming.
Yeah,
it's
maybe not right away.
Maybe not right away. Throw a couple hissy fits, man. Then we're good to go.
A couple more temper tantrums. Yep.
Kicking and screaming on the floor, and somebody's like, "Come on, dude, stop." Yeah. I see Hard Knocks up in the comments.
Oh, okay.
Daniel.
Amazing.
All right. If you guys aren't following Hard Knocks Talks, go follow Hard Knocks Talks right now. They share a lot of really cool, sober stories. Awesome.
Get views. You don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see a grown man cry, bro.
I mean, depends on the situation.
Yeah, I'm sure with Daniel's life, I'm probably more than likely there's a bunch of hissy fits from technical stuff. I promise you.
Guarantee.
Yeah. With all his high tech bougie ass. Yes, it is.
Bro. He's on another level. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Josh says, my rock bottom came last year. I almost died when I was in the hospital for 6 months because I got an infection while I was using. Yeah, that's what happened to my husband too. He was in the hospital for 6 months. As a matter of fact, it was supposed to be 42 days, but it turned out to be 6 months because he just couldn't stay long enough to complete the treatment. And I don't think that was maybe was his rock bottom, but that wasn't quite the end for him. But that is what led to the end for him. It's something else when you're sitting in a hospital bed and you think that you're going to die, as a result of using. I'm so glad you made it out of that, Josh.
Have you guys heard about that what they're finding now with the trank mixed with the phentermine? I mean, not phentermine, fentanyl.
Xylazine?
The fentanyl, heroin, and trank mix.
No.
So they did. Yeah, so they've got like a harm reduction place here, and they've been testing. So they tested 12 out of 13 batches, and they got this drug called Trank that they're putting in the fentanyl heroin mixture now, and it eats the inside of your arm, eats your arm off.
I have heard of that. So I think they call it xylazine here. And it literally or trank is the like slang, and it eats holes in your skin, right? And they don't heal. So you might still have a wound and it still be there like 20 months later. I seen somebody on YouTube with that.
Isn't that like that crocodile type stuff with
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Crocodile
that was
is what it was called.
Wasn't that?
Was it? I never tried it.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Right?
That's my generation. Yeah. I just like the regular stuff.
Right. Yes. It's bad out there, but these days, like that xylazine stuff, it's no joke coming off of like the withdrawal from it. It keeps you where you can't breathe. Like the withdrawal is no joke. Like it literally can like kill somebody. It's awful.
Yeah, and they're mixing
Mhm.
in everything. It's what's crazy. The
Mhm.
I know, man, I'd be dead if I was out there because like I mean, they're putting in literally Xanax, weed, like
Mhm.
everything, I'll be up in the
Yeah.
club, trying to get hooked up, you know what I mean? And boom, that's how fast it is. You
Mhm.
don't know what you're getting these days. If they could put in alcohol, they would. I promise you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just the craziness of it, man. They can't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, and it's Narcan resistant too, so Narcan won't save somebody on it. They say it's in
Right.
20% of the supply down here.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Mhm.
they found it in 12 out of 13 bags, the test they just
Wow.
did. But they're telling people to still make sure they keep Narcan because Narcan will still work on the fentanyl aspect and the heroin aspect, but yeah, not on that. So, but definitely still keep your Narcan.
Yeah, Dear Recovery's on. Hey, Adriana. She
What's
says they
up?
have,
What's up,
xylene test strips
Adriana?
now.
Really? That's good.
Mhm.
Mm.
I think she has some, as a matter of fact. They just came out with it.
What does that say? Crocodile has kerosene in it in Russia and
That's
here.
crazy. That just like that, spice is like I've heard that I never tried the new strand of it, but I heard that it's like Raid sprayed on something that people smoke. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's some kind of chemicals, but I'll tell you right now, that stuff is not sane. Because I remember when I was on probation, like that's the one thing I could do. And like, I'd be drinking a little bit and then I'd do that. And then I'd be like, what the hell is going on? Like it was just I was just it was wow. That's all I'm
You
saying.
tried the old brand of this stuff, right? Because
Uh-huh.
before it was different than the stuff that makes you nod out, right?
I don't know what they have now, but this is back. This is like
Yeah.
2012, 13 when it was first coming out.
Mhm.
That
Where you
stuff
could
is
buy
Yeah.
it
wild.
in like the smoke shops and stuff. Yeah, I used to know a bunch of people on probation that used to do it. But
Mhm.
yeah, the stuff they have now is so wild. It's like literally, like you're saying, like people literally like nod out on it. It's so weird.
Yeah. It's dangerous. I mean, it's just so dangerous out there, and it's crazy like the culture of drugs and addiction is progressing, and therefore like recovery needs to be progressive as well. Like the same
Yeah.
techniques that we
Mhm.
used back then aren't necessarily working now. And so we all need to be like open-minded to different paths of recovery and whatever's going to work for somebody, because it is literally life or death out there. And every year, like, it's getting worse. In 2021, we lost 107,000 people to overdose. In 2022, it was 110,000 people to overdose. I don't know what the numbers are this year, but I mean, it just keeps getting worse out there. It's not getting any better.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
more people that are out there recovering out loud, showing that it works, that's what I think is like the best thing to do. And yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for putting that up because I was going to ask you too. Is like recovering out loud in Ireland. This is a big deal. People hate me saying I should be ashamed and say that I should be ashamed better. But you shouldn't be ashamed. Like we
Mhm.
cannot be quiet anymore. The more we're quiet, the more people are going to die in silence. That's just what it is. That's just how it goes. It's anonymous thing, man. It's good, cool. Be anonymous if you want to. But do you know how many people need to hear what you have to say and what you've been through? People need to hear that because a lot of people think it's all fake. Like there's no way I can change. I'm just stuck like this. I was that guy. I was stuck
Mhm.
thinking that I was just wired wrong. There is a default in the manufacturing and they don't have enough parts. And like there was a recall on Justin's, in 1982s, and
Mhm.
that's my thinking is like I am just broken. There's no repairing me. This is the way life is. And until I seen it in other people and I'm on Facebook going, man, I wish I had that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and then I finally experienced it myself. That's why I think I hold tight, man. Even though like life is not perfect. Life happens and misery happens because I can be clean and miserable at the same time. It's just what it
Mhm.
is. And I was just there a few months ago, but it's never enough for me to say fuck it, you know. Even on I was miserable, literally miserable, and I had to do something about it, but I did. And it's never enough because I know exactly what I'm going to subscribe to once I get back into the swing of things. I know exactly I'm going to wind up dead. It scares the shit out of me. It's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, nothing worth going back out there. I mean, no matter what. I mean, I've had such crazy life-changing events recently, and but still, like, it never crossed my mind. Maybe I should go get high. Like, never. I'm like, no, that would be like the worst thing, especially with the drugs nowadays. Oh God,
Mm.
no. You will
Yeah.
not make it out of there. You will not make it out of
Mhm.
there, and nothing is worth that. And being able to, like, we're talking about, finding joy. Sometimes you can kind of like, you got to speak it out, right? Like things might not be great, but still being able to, like, look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, like, I have a good life. I am a good person. I'm a person of integrity. I have, people who love me, like, speaking out those, like, good things instead of, focusing on the negative things, because it's so easy to get stuck in that spiral and that trap.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, that's why I'm big on that right now. I'm big on the way we speak. Way we
Mhm.
speak, it becomes our reality. It's just that powerful. Our words have power, and how we speak into our existence, how we speak to ourselves, how we look at things, it all matters. Because my life can be one way if I look at it this way. My life could be another way if I look at it this way. So I tried to find, even in days that I just want to give up. Like, me and Sonya were on
Mhm.
here earlier talking about
Mhm.
overextending, overextending.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
when you overextend yourself, what happens? My life sucks. And it's like, no, you're just
Mhm.
busy, brah. Like, calm down. Like, it's going to be okay. Go to bed. you know,
Right.
Mhm.
those hissy fits again, and,
Yeah.
and, and it's halt is very important. Halt,
Yes.
hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It's legit. That's when you go, whoo, okay. Kind of go to
Mhm.
sleep, time to take a breath, bring it down a couple notches, slow down for a minute, breathe, and
Mhm.
then go, because we can get stuck in that. My life sucks, and but it's actually blessed, and you just are just too busy, or you're
Yeah.
overextending yourself.
Right.
Mhm.
And now, like, we're living the life that recovery has promised us, right? And so that's actually really cool that we get to do all of these things, but also that we have to maintain our sanity in the process, because I'm feeling a little bit insane right at the moment. But like, the hope that I hear from you guys, like what you're saying and what I know in my experience too, is that before I got clean, I could not imagine living one single day with that, not even a day, like an hour. Like, I could not get up without using drugs. I could not go to bed without knowing that I had drugs so that I could get up with them. Every single day, my whole world revolved around getting and using and finding ways to get more.
Mhm.
And then, no matter, like, once you get in recovery, you cross over this line one day, right? And you just know that using is not the solution anymore. It's not going to help anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's just going to make matters so much worse. So what can we do, right? Like, we can put boundaries up and not overextend ourselves. We can practice some meditation, and we can, use the tools that we've learned along the way to get back into sanity and peace when we're feeling insane and chaotic, right? Because
Mhm.
that happens sometimes
Mhm.
too.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think sometimes you can put on, like, some good music, like, whether that be like some, like, empowerment. Like, me and my girlfriend were over here the other day, and we were listening to Lizzo, and she was, like, singing and dancing. Like, sometimes you gotta just do it. You know what I mean? Like, in spite of, right? Or, like, if you like
Mhm.
worship music, like praise and worship, or if you like techno music, like, put on,
Techno.
some old Jenko jeans and just rock it out. Like, whatever you got to do to make it happen. You just got to do it. Push through, and just try to, like, I feel like too, we take things so heavy. Like,
Mhm.
everything we take, like, it's like so heavy. It's like, sometimes I feel like I don't like laugh enough. You know what I mean? Like, laugh or like look at things like lightly. Like, everything. Sometimes I make things so serious.
Yeah, I think we have a tendency to do that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I listen to techno music when I get in the mood. Like, listen, I'm from that era. I had a that was my fun time, you know, and I love the music. Like the music is it just brings that feeling back almost, you know, of
Mhm.
that love, you know, and
Mhm.
um yeah, I sometimes, but I also do other things. Like I do talks. Like I do a lot of like self-help talks, self-motivating. TED Talks is huge for me. Um but yeah, I seen that comment says should have, could haves,
Mhm.
and the would haves, and we just actually did last, thing was last week, no, 2 weeks ago, we did a live stream on that, on the could have, should have, would haves, because it keeps you stuck, man. The regrets
Yeah.
of the past when we're here, this is the only moment we have, and we can get stuck in that fantasy land. You know, I actually I cut a piece out of that and put into a reel, but we get stuck into fantasy land of what we could have done better, or my life, or I should be this far, I should be having this, or I'm, 40 years old, I should have a house, a wife, and pick a fence, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's all bullshit, like that whole
Mhm.
American dream is bullshit anyways. You know what
Yes,
I mean? Half of
especially
us
these
are just
days.
struggling to survive, and we're
Mhm.
overworked, underpaid, underappreciated,
Mhm.
American dream is bullshit.
Yes,
Bullshit.
it is.
I don't want no
Especially
part
these
of it.
days. It's
Don't want
rough
no
out
part of
there
it.
these days.
Mhm. It
Yeah.
is.
Mhm. But yeah, when you're not staying in the now, right? That's another way to find the joy within, because when you're in the moment, right, enjoying the moment, it really helps you to have the joy within. Because if you're not in the moment, and you're obsessing about the could have, would have, and should haves, then you're not at peace. So that's a really good way to have joy within too. I believe that everything happens exactly the way that it's supposed to, in the perfect timing. So I
Mhm.
just have to believe that. And everything that I've been through all got me up to this moment. I wouldn't be who I was without this. So I
Mhm.
don't, it's not that I don't regret things. Like if I could have done things differently, maybe I would have, as far as like when it comes to my kids and stuff. But I am who I am because of what I've been through.
Yep.
Right. And
And you
what's
wouldn't
that
be this
saying? You got one.
successful.
Yep. Yep. You got one foot in the past and one foot in the future. You're pissing on the present, right? Is that what they say?
Yep.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yep.
That's my motto.
Yep.
Mhm.
That was me. When I first got into this recovery deal, I know I wasn't gonna ask you to put that up, but it's a
Mhm.
give yourself grace. That is the most important freaking thing, and laugh at yourself every once in a while. You know?
Yes.
Mm.
When I first got into this recovery deal, right? I was fresh in, man. I was dope sick at this freaking event that they threw on for my fellowship, and um and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like I was, you're still on, you're tiptoeing, you're dancing with the devil. You don't know if you want to be here or not. You're doing the cha cha slide, whatever. You don't know if you want to or not. So I was in this thing, and this dude's talking about the triangle of self obsession, which is,
Mm.
bro, that did it for me. The one foot in the past and one foot in the present, and in the future, and pissing all over the present. You're angry, pissed off. That was me. I had so much resentment, so much fear. I was fear mongering. I still have fear. Like when I was telling you 2 months ago when I was all misery, I was
Mhm.
so skittish. I had so much fear of failure, fear of what if, or what's gonna happen, or if, like, just all kinds of things, like, and then that negative self-talk is happening. And because all that fear is there and all that, and it's just, oh gosh, I remember that. But that's one thing, that right there, the triangle self-obsession
Mhm.
did it for me. It freaking pretty much explained my life.
Right. Well, why don't we tell them what the triangle of self-obsession is? Because that's a really good one. It's my personal favorite reading. I love it.
Me too. And do you want me to take?
Sure.
Might as well, right? Okay, so
Okay.
the triangle of self-obsession is the, so we had, it's the resentments of the past, the fear of the future, and then we're angry in the present, and we have no
Mhm.
clue why. It says that we grow up as we grow up for children, right? As children, A lot of people go and their mother and their father give them what they need, right? Everybody has their mother and father give them what they need. Well, as we grow up, a lot of people look within to find that need after their mother and father have, subsided or whatever, as they grow up, right? Well, some of us don't act like that. We expect the world to give us what we need. And while we're sitting here with our hand out, gimme, mother. And when people don't do that, we sit here and then we throw tantrums, right? Yep. And we build these resentments, man, because the world's not feeding us what we need. And if we don't grow up, we're going to die. That was it for me. I was like, if I don't grow up, I'm going to fucking die. I don't want to die.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think I could have possibly explained that any better. That was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And so the thing about it, right, is the triangle of self-obsession is anger, fear, and resentment, right? So what is the solution for those three things, right? There's a solution for each one of them. And something we were just talking about a moment ago, like if anger is forgiveness, resentment is acceptance, fear is faith, right? So when you find yourself in those resentment, anger, fear, you turn it around, right? When you become aware of it, you turn it around, right? And find acceptance in that situation. However, you got to do that. Talk to somebody about it, pray about it, meditate on it. However, you have to do that until you can find acceptance for those things. So it's actually really cool. Like that whole reading is a really good one.
Very good.
And the faster you can change that thought process, the quicker you can come out of it.
And we ain't got time to waste. I'll tell you right now. That's why it's so important. When you're this is how I know I'm growing, right? Is when I get from, what used to take me a long time to forgive or just accept, it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter to come out of it, right? Because I would sit there and hold on to it. Like I like to hold on to it. Like, oh, fuck no, you didn't do this to me. You know what I mean? Like, and forgiveness, man. And when you talk about forgiveness is it's for us. It has nothing to do with the people that have done things to us or whatever, no matter how big or small, they all matter, right? Well, it's forgiveness is for us, man, to be able to move forward. That's all it's about.
Right. Because when we don't forgive, we're actually just holding ourselves hostage to what happened in the past. And so the way that I see it is if I'm still holding on to that resentment or that anger that I have towards somebody over something that happened 10, 20 years ago, and granted, like that, it was bad. Like they should have never done that. They had no right to do that to me. But if I don't forgive them so that I can be released from that, then in my mind, like they're still winning, right? They still have power and control over me if I haven't been able to release that. So I think that that's the thing, right? Forgiving others and forgiving ourselves, I still sometimes really hold myself anyways, I still beat myself up sometimes for things that happen in the past, but at the end of the day, like, it's really like, I got to forgive myself, it couldn't have happened any differently. Like it happened, maybe, it wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it did, and I can't change it at this point in time. The only thing that I can do is in the present moment, right? If I want my future to be different, like I can work on my present moment. That's the only thing that I have control over. But if I have to forgive myself to be able to move forward without letting that stuff affect me anymore. Otherwise, it's going to be living in my now with me. I'm going to be carrying it with me, and it's going to be in my future with me, because if I don't let it go, I'm going to be repeating that cycle over and over again unknowingly.
Yeah. And it's crazy is like what's kept me sick for so long is the things that have happened to me. And I always replay them in my head. Like it just happened. Like people have moved on from me and I'm holding on to this resentment for this person. Right. And I'm playing the scenario in my head of what happened over and over and over. And it's been years and this person has moved on and living a beautiful life. And I'm over here still in my little hissy fit because somebody did something to me, but who am I? People have done stuff to people too, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just crazy that cycle in your head, it's over and over.
Yep, the triangle of self-obsession.
Yes. That's my favorite. I love that movie.
Toxic for sure.
Welcome back, Jamie. Storm didn't get you, huh?
Doing magic tricks here.
Yeah, we have a lot of people on here that are saying that they have trouble forgiving themselves. Yeah, we all did crummy shit when we were out there. Like I was just talking to somebody about this actually right before I got home. I had to recognize when I got clean, like since I've been clean, I have not done any of the type of stuff that I used to do out there in my addiction. Like I have not robbed my mom. I have not slept with nobody for money. Like I have not, betrayed any of my best friends. Like I haven't done any of that kind of stuff. I haven't stolen from any stores. And I don't know, sometimes maybe people steal from stores a few times when they first get clean, but generally speaking, like, I'm not doing the kind of stuff that I was doing when I was out there. And that helped me to recognize like that wasn't really me. Like that was the person that was being under the influence of drugs and I was controlled by the drugs. I did whatever they wanted me to do. I went wherever they wanted me to go. I sat for as long as they needed me to sit to wait on the dope man to show up 4 hours later when he said he was going to be there in 5 minutes, I mean, I did whatever it wanted me to do, but I haven't done any of that stuff since I've been clean, which tells me that's not who I am. And so that helps me to give myself a little bit of grace and to be able to forgive myself for those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy is we'll sit there and identify ourselves with the things that we've done in our past, like that is our identity. We can't get over it. Like it's so entwined in our mental that's who we are. I'm just a thief, or I'm just this, or I stole from my mom, and it can be detrimental to our recovery, especially if you're in this, man. You got to find a way to work through it, whether it's a therapist, a 12-step fellowship, a priest. I don't care how you do it, but those things that burden us, that hold us down, that hold us captive, the drugs is the solution to those things holding you captive. Like that was the reason I used, is because I'll never be this. I'm always this. I did this to this person. I can never forgive myself. Well, everybody deserves forgiveness. It doesn't matter what you've fucking done. Everybody deserves it. And you just have to get to that breakthrough. It's just a breakthrough you have to get to, and you're going to get there. If you haven't yet, it's happening. Just make sure you're doing something to actually work through those emotions, to be able to overcome them and then counteract them, because that's all it's about. Is we have to be able to actually address the issue. Why do we feel this way? Why can't I forgive myself? Why do I stay this way? And then we can move forward.
Right.
But sometimes you can't even find an answer to it, right? You just kind of have to like make a decision and do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people, have that with like unforgiveness with themselves. I really struggle with that. And it was like, well, maybe I don't feel it, or I can't figure out like what it is, but I'm going to make a decision to just do it anyway. I'm going to act out, and I'm just going to do it anyway,
Yeah, I think forgiveness starts with a decision, especially like in the case of others. Sometimes I have to just decide that I'm going to forgive them so that it is not affecting my life anymore. And I'm not ruining my day being pissed off at somebody about something that they did like a week ago. I have to decide that I'm going to forgive them. And then once I make that decision and I find some acceptance, right? Then the feelings of forgiveness tend to come after that. But sometimes you have to just say, like, this is what I'm going to do,
Yep. Hand it over. I got to do it physically. I got to be like, okay, here it is. Take it. Like, I'm not carrying this anymore. Like I got to get dramatic with it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just looking at something. Sorry, I lost my train of thought now. Go figure. No, I was reading a comment. It says this Jamie Smith. I don't know if you can put that up. She says, I have 10 years.
Yes. And I was looking at that too.
Okay, yeah, that's where I got a side job. Squirrel. And it says I have 10 years clean, but I still have addictive tendencies. I guess I still have the way of thinking because I never did the steps or program. I mean, we're human. We're gonna have addictive tendencies. We're just built that way, you know what I mean? Like, and it's nothing we can really do, but you can work on it. It's awareness. Or we're aware of it, we get to work on it, and it's just what you're doing to try to work on it, doesn't mean you have to go. I mean, the steps are good, a program's good, a therapist is good, all of it's good. It just depends on what you want to do and to be able to deal with that. I I do meditation every single morning. That helps me so much with all of my trash that I have. All of it.
Yeah, I can tell you, Jamie, I did do the steps and I still have addictive behaviors today. It's something that I'm constantly working on. And guess what? When I feel like I've got one nailed down, another one pops its head up.
Where'd you come
Yeah.
from?
Right.
Yeah, and don't be tricked by the world. Believe me, everybody in the world has addictive tendencies. They have addictive, just because they didn't do drugs doesn't mean that they don't have addictive tendencies to other things. It's just human nature.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like the negative thinking. It's human nature, but we have to do something to offset it. We have to do something to get off that due north, as they say, center of negativity and addictive tendencies. We have to offset it and go this way. And then, like just one little smidge to the left or the right, we can be in a whole different life.
Mhm. Yep, that's so true. Sammy says that I'm now a peer support specialist in my first month of helping others. And that's actually a really good way to find the joy within. That's a good way to find forgiveness within yourself. That's a good way to be in the now. And all of these things that we've been talking about is just, they say you could lose yourself or you could find yourself when you lose yourself in service to others, whether that means holding the door for somebody, becoming a peer specialist, bringing in a meeting, or taking somebody out to lunch, or giving somebody a hug when they're feeling sad, or being a listening ear. I mean, there is literally so many ways that you can help your fellow man. If you see somebody that needs help and you do that, like when you walk away, when you help somebody without expecting anything in return, you walk away feeling like you've done something good for the world. And that really helps me. Like that helped me, I think, a lot in my beginning of my recovery, to forgive myself, because I felt like I was such a fuck up for so long, And when I was able to do something good for somebody else, it helped me to not feel like such a fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Just, there was so I started going to church with my wife because she goes to church. So I started going to church and with her, just to be there with her. And he was talking about, the sermon was about, communication is two things. It's listening and talking too, so it's like, and I was like, I didn't really think about that it's listening is communicating too, because I was like, communicating is when you communicate, but communicate is listening too, because it's a two-way street. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But even just listening would help us. I mean, I listen to freaking TED Talks and podcasts all the time, and I listen all the time, and it's like, when I listen to those things, I feel so much better, and that's with anything, even if it's just a podcast to get you out of self, sometimes that helps too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, getting yourself out of yourself and out of your own head.
Yeah, especially if you're struggling, right? Especially if you're having a hard time with something, like I think that's why cleaning the house works when you're upset, right? Like just get out, move a muscle, change a thought, like just get out of it and get out of it and go help somebody. That's the way to do it. That'll really help you on the other side to not feel however you were feeling when you started,
Yeah. I don't know about cleaning the house, but
Get out some aggression on scrubbing the floors.
yeah. I'm not there yet, I guess.
I wish I was one of those people, but I am not.
One thing is one thing that gets me, it's like I like cooking. Like I cook. I'm the cook here. That's what I do. But when I'm cooking, I listen to R&B music, like the old 90s, Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Slow jams.
Oh yeah. Slow jamming it up. Like that's my jam, like, and that gets me, like, that makes my day, it's, you got to find those little things that, like, because I remember I had to figure it out, what makes me happy, like when we get what brings that joy within, right?
Yes.
We got to figure out what those were, because this is about self-discovery. It's about figuring out what you like and what fits you, what you don't like, it's cool to find out. But we never got to that stage of life, because I don't know about y'all, man, but I was in it when I was 12 years old. I started, I started ripping and running, and I had to figure, just in the 5 years, I still don't know what I like. I still don't, because I still have a lot of fear of branching out, spending money. Like I have, I don't know. I get weird on certain things, but I know that cooking is one of them. One of those things. It's my love language, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm not a cook. Like I cannot cook for shit, and my husband's not a cook, so nobody really cooks, and we eat out a lot. A lot. But
Right.
I do like what you said though, because I remember about, I want to say 2 years ago now, my mentor, right, my sponsor told me to find what I love. That doesn't include going to meetings or helping other people. It doesn't include my kids. It doesn't include my job. It doesn't include my husband or anybody else. Just me. What do I like to do? And when she first asked me that, like I literally had no idea. I didn't know what I like to do because just like you were saying, I started using it at a very, very young age. I never had time to figure out anything about life. The only thing that I knew about life was how to use. And so, what I did find though that I really did like to do was going to exercise, because when I went to exercise, I was by myself. There was nobody around me. I could turn on music and listen to music and just completely like zone out of the world, and do something good for myself at the same time. And so that was the thing that I found that I really loved. And also I would take the kids to school and go sit by this little pond after I would drop them off at school, and just like at 8 o'clock in the morning and just watch the birds like coast across the pond, and the sun hit the light, hit the, the waves or whatever, not waves, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing like, creation kind of all line up perfectly was really cool, like meditation to do in the mornings. But exercising definitely is the thing that I found that I love. And I don't know, maybe there's more. I'm sure there is more. I just haven't figured out what they are yet.
There's definitely more.
Mm-hmm. There is more, but I'm with her on the exercising. That's on my jam list. But yeah, and the crazy thing is, because when we were in our addiction, right, like we didn't know what we liked when we first came into recovery, right? So we come into recovery and it's like, oh, I mean, I just liked what everybody else liked. I don't know about you, but I was like, oh, you like country music? I love country music. Like you like these kind of movies? Oh, me too, right? I don't know anything about myself. I just follow what everybody else says, right? So it's like, like we were saying, self-discovery, and making like a list, and it could be simple things, you know what I mean, hiking, nature walks, kayaking, you know what I mean, there's so many things that, do you like looking at stars or planets or whatever? There's like so many things that you can do to like, bring yourself joy that is just it's just right there in front of you that you just don't even realize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like going in kayaking in springs. Like I love springs, the clear water. I like camp. I like hiking. Like I love nature, like any kind of hiking up in the mountains. I love all that. Like I absolutely do love all that. And sunsets.
Have you ever floated in an inner tube at a springs before, like Jenny Springs or like Crystal River? Like I did it once. Never again.
Why?
There's alligators in there.
Oh.
And there is so many people like just coasting around the river like it's no big deal. You guys know that there's tons of, like, we're in Florida, okay?
Yeah, but whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Right. I don't want to go out like that.
I used to do worse,
Okay, Josh has asked us a question twice, and I just want to pop this up here for just a second. Do you guys think that Suboxone helps or continues the addiction cycle?
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that, okay, so scientifically, medically speaking, Suboxone, when someone is on Suboxone, prescribed as a prescription, whatever, the addictive behavior should subside, because there's a difference, right? So like addictive behavior is doing things despite negative consequences, continued use, right? Despite negative consequences. So it's not really anybody's business who, if you're taking your medication prescribed by your doctor. You know what I mean? If you find you're taking your medication prescribed by your doctor and then you're going to rob a store to buy more, you know what I mean? There's like a different, you know what I mean? That would be addictive behavior. You know what I mean? But if we're talking about just taking your medication, the addictive behavior should subside, right? Did I explain that?
So I will say that I was on Suboxone when I first got in recovery. I was on Suboxone forever because it was like, if I didn't have something, Suboxone was my backup, you know? And so when I first got in recovery, I dosed down on Suboxone to help me subside. Now, I will say it's all about motives. What's your motives? You know?
Right.
Do you feel like, because Jamie has her journey, Sonya has her journey, I have my journey. It is none of my freaking business what that journey looks like. You know, we are all individuals doing our own life, right? And some people need more help than others. I'll tell you this, harm reduction is real, and having something to kind of guide you back in there, because the drugs are stronger these days. They weren't like my drugs, I guess, you know, and we didn't have any of that stuff. So we have to do a softer, subtle approach to get them back to a normalcy. I think it fucks with the mind even more, you know? So having that soft, subtle approach, and if there's a plan in place, cool. If not, cool. But you know your motives. If you feel like you can and you feel like you're cool, if you're not out there robbing a fucking bank and stealing from your mama and doing some dirty shit, cool. You know, that's how I feel about it, you know, and it's none of my business. You know, I don't judge on those things. I think it helps, you know, I do think it helps. And then eventually maybe they'll come off of it. And if not, that's on the person.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just don't think that I think what happens is that somebody who gets on Suboxone hears from everybody else that they shouldn't be on it and that they're still in addiction and all of these things. And it discourages them from continuing on their path to recovery, right? Like we all have different paths to recovery. And if this is working for you, that's wonderful. Do what works, right? Like you don't need to fix what's not broken. So if it's working, like that's great. Continue to work that. And then one day, if you want to be off it, like Justin was saying, like that's wonderful. But if you don't, that's okay too. Whatever is working. If you have started rebuilding your life and you're feeling like a person again, and you're starting to look within, and you know, you're getting a job and you're contacting your family, doing all of the things that we do in recovery, and that's what's helping you get there, then more power to you. I just think that, you know, we should, no matter what path of recovery we're on, that we should all be supportive of each other no matter what, because people are out here dying every day, and that's got to stop. So we've got to do something different.
You got to stop that shame culture. You know what I mean? We're all in here shaming people and keeping them locked up in the prisons that they're made for themselves. And we just keep on doing it. And it needs to stop, man, because it's none of your fucking business. If they're not, I just feel like it's just like any other freaking prescription drug that they give out at doctors. Like there's no difference. Actually, I feel that some of the stuff they have out there is probably better than what they have out there given out with ADHD meds and all this other crap, man. And like, what's the difference? You know, like it's all the same. It's prescribed for a doctor. It's to help their mental state. It's to help them to get back to a normalcy. Cool. You know?
Yeah. I like what you said about your motives though. Like, what are your motives? Do you want to be done with your addiction and you're just trying to get back on the right path? That's wonderful. You know, that's wonderful. Cause I know I had experience with the maintenance program years and years ago, and my motives were not in that place. I was not doing it because I wanted to be off of drugs. I was doing it because I didn't want to be sick, you know, and I was doing all kind of other drugs at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that may be like a little bit different, but what, you know, like again, even if that is the case, like if it's keeping you from overdosing and dying, even if it's just the one drug that you're able to get off of, I mean, we have to change the way that we look at this, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. What to say, dead people can't recover
Exactly.
if you're 6 feet under. So, I mean, whatever you got to do, you know, and I had the same experience when I went to the, you know, methadone clinic, and I wasn't, you know, trying to get on any kind of maintenance or do any kind of recovery. You know what I mean? I would go in and they'd be like, well, you scored 100 on your drug test again. And I'd be like, well, it was a good week, I guess. That was my motto about it. They're like, that you can die from doing all this stuff. Like,
Thanks for the update.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because like there's some people that can and cannot do it. Like I had to get off Suboxone. I had to. Anything that I touch, I freaking abuse. That's the truth about me. And I know that to be true about me. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with anybody else. Truth about me is I'll abuse anything. I abuse ice cream. I abuse cheeseburgers. I abuse social media, TV. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Locked on TikTok for hours. Yep.
Yeah. Fall in the black hole.
Yep.
Okay, well, this was great. We're so glad you came on with us tonight, Justin.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been great.
Super fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again soon.
Definitely.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back again soon.
All right. See ya.